kṛtārtho'nena jñānenetyevaṃ iti evam galitadhīḥ kṛtī paśyañchṛṇvanspṛśañjighrannaśnannāste yathāsukham. Being fulfilled by this wisdom of the self and with the mind absorbed and contented in the self, the wise man lives happily, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and eating. Existing as self, abiding in self, there is no mind left in the Jivan Mukta to forsake, to give up anything which is specifically forbidden for a human being. All those which are forbidden would naturally be avoided by a jnani, not because the Dharma Shastras prescribe that those things have to be forbidden, but due to his own pure nature, the nature of self. Thus he sees, hears, smells, touches and eats, apparently like any other human being. But the intention behind all this, the impact of all this is what differentiates a Jivan Mukta from a normal Jiva. A normal Jiva fueled by desires and vasanas, and thus fueled how a Jiva sees, hears, smells, touches and eats. If we say that a Jivan Mukta has no motivation to see, hear, smell, touch, eat, etc., also there is no insecurity left in him, no fear left in him that he may overindulge in things seen, heard, touched, etc. Thus, there is no need for him to deliberately curb his desire and to deliberately attempt not to see, hear, smell, etc. On seeing most beautiful thing in the world or the most ugliest thing in the world, there is no disturbance in him. His eyes see, his mind does not see, his desires do not flare up. On hearing, smelling the most pleasant thing on the earth, or hearing the most abusive words against him, again he is not disturbed. His mind does not hear or smell anything. Similarly, the most attractive thing on earth when it comes into contact with him, touches him, he stands unmoved. His senses do not respond. His desires do not flare up. His passion does not arise. Regarding eating, if he is fed with most delicious food in the world for a day, and then he is left with simplest food for the remaining 1 year, his mind does not hanker over the best food he had that one day, and he does not lament over not getting the same for the next 1 year. The chances of seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, eating, these chances come to a Jivan Mukta exactly in the same manner they come to a Jiva. A Jiva has his senses active, his mind active, his desires active, and therefore his mind senses immediately respond to all of them. Whereas this verse says, a jnani has his mind absorbed and contented in self. He abides in self and exists as self. There is a difference between a powerless human being who lacks energy and vigor to enjoy things in the world and a Jivan Mukta who does not enjoy things in the world. A powerless human being wants to enjoy, but he is very weak, unable to enjoy, whereas a self-realized master has become so powerful, so complete, so wholesome as pure existence awareness, that in that wholesome pure existence awareness, worldly objects of enjoyments have no relevance or no significance. Self is unmoved, not disturbed by anything seen, heard, smelt, touched. We can reframe this verse in this way. A wise man's happiness or joy is complete within, the joy of self, and he exists in and as that supreme Ananda, unaffected by his eyes seeing, his ears hearing, his nose smelling, his hands touching, and his body consuming or eating anything. Commentary lines. The mind of the man of perfection has discovered a complete sense of fulfillment in the experience of the infinite self. That is what we said as wholesome pure existence awareness. And therefore, there is no question of his mind roaming away from him into the world of sense pleasures of its own initiative. He remains at peace with himself and with the world around. He never runs away from the world, nor has he any aversion towards the world. It is not external behavior, but the state of his inner consciousness that distinguishes a man of knowledge from an ordinary, worldly, sensuous being. In his inner wisdom alone, he is a superman, though he may live like a normal human being otherwise. Unquote. Hari Om Tat Sat.